In this video, we're going to talk about the final stage of production, and that is the assembling of the book itself. Spoiler alert, it was hands down the most frustrating part of the whole process. Hi guys, and thank you so much for joining me once again. Today I'm going to be talking about the final assembly of the actual book. I sent my manuscript off to the uber patient editors over at EJL Editing, and they did a bang-up job, not just with correcting it, but also explaining as to why they made the changes that they had made. Before that, they asked me questions about how I would like to see the final manuscript, and they created a style guide just for me. It's a huge amount of work, and I can't get over just how affordable it all really was. Definitely check them out for all your editing needs, and trust me, it is a lot better to let the professionals deal with your editing. I, for one, am too close to the writing, and after a while, a lot of the things can slip through the cracks. Once the edited manuscript came back and I had my final art ready to go, it was time to actually start putting it all together. I used Adobe InDesign, and this was a total crash course in the program for me. I have Adobe Suites, and like many of you out there are a few programs that I just never open up, and InDesign was one of those. Pretty quickly I realized I needed to watch a few tutorials, and even though I did, it didn't seem to help. I got the basic idea out of it, but there were a lot of things that this program could do that seemed to be out of my control. One of the best tutorials I saw was when it opened up and a woman said, if you have a lot of experience in Photoshop or other Adobe programs, it's just not going to help you. Very true. After hearing that, I began to understand what they meant, and I approached the program with a completely open mind. I am obviously by no means a regular user, but I will say that like everything else in life, the first time is the hardest, and what you learn by making mistakes is invaluable. One thing that took a lot of time was that the mistake of not having the font and the spacing solidified before I began putting the illustrations in. I thought that once everything was in place, that when the font size or spacing adjusted, that the illustrations would just adjust along with them. That was not the case. Breaking your book up into multiple files will take away the ripple effect when you make changes. For instance, if you made a big change in chapter 3 that requires big shifts in the illustrations, but the file that you're working with only goes up to chapter 6, then the shifting of those illustrations will not have to be cascading through the entire 30 or so chapter book that you're working with. This is a very powerful program, and if you want to jump into it and do it yourself, you need to be very patient with it. If you have the funds, I highly, highly suggest getting a graphic designer to take over this stage. There's a reason graphic designers exist, and it's for this very thing. They're well worth the money, and they think completely differently when it comes to images and text than the average writer. As you can imagine, this is a process in which you have to continually go through what you have and make sure that nothing has slipped out of place. Once you're happy, all you do is export that PDF and you're done. That's it. Next up, we're going to be talking about the cover. Thank you so much for joining me, and like always, be like water, my friends.